Hey the fellow travelers, back here with Wolters and today we're here in Mexico City, and today we're going to talk about are the things that tourists do here in Mexico that actually annoy the locals. And I want to start with this one. When you think of Mexico, when you watch the news about Mexico around the world, obviously they only show you the bad news. And so when tourists think about coming to Mexico, a lot of times what they say is, do I have to worry about the cartels? What about the narcos and the drug dealers? I mean, I don't think it's safe to go there. I mean, I'm telling people we're going to Mexico City and people are like freaking out. Look, people in Mexico, they know there are issues. The cartels do exist and the drug dealers do exist. But as a tourist, you're not really going to get involved with that. And there's plenty of safe places you can enjoy throughout Mexico. Whether you want to go to the beach or a city like Mexico City, you can enjoy that. So don't be like, oh, I don't know if it's safe to go there. Or be surprised when you come to Mexico City and realize there's neighborhoods that are totally fine to go to any time of the day. Because that's one thing that really kind of hurts the feelings of the locals, but also shows that you don't know that there's so much more to Mexico than the things you see on TV. I mean, whether you're coming here to Mexico City, you're going to the Pueblos Mágicos, the beautiful little magical villages around the country. I mean, there's just so much here. You don't really have to worry about those things you see on TV. So just know that that's one of those things that might turn the locals off if you start discussing those things. And that's why I think another thing would upset them is if you kind of joke around about the cartels or any of those things, because there have been thousands of families impacted by the cartels, by the drug trade. So don't joke about that, because that also will, turn your friends off here in Mexico. You want to make friends with you here because the people here are amazing. I mean, in my thing that tourists love about coming to Mexico, that is one of the top things, is just the people and how much it's awesome here. But we don't want to upset them. So the next thing on the list is when tourists think that Mexico is just the Riviera Maya. Look, I know you can look at the numbers. When you look at tourists that come to Mexico, number one is Riviera Maya. Going to Cancun, you're going to Tulum, you're going over there. The Yucatan Peninsula is like Mexico for a lot of people. But that's like saying Florida is the perfect example of the United States. The Amalfi Coast is what all of Italy is like. No, there is so much more when you're here. Yes, the big cities like Guadalajara, Mexico City are so cool to visit. But there's also other coast towns. Like I said, the Pueblos Mágicos, the magical villages. I mean, going to Puebla itself. I mean, there's so many great things to do that it's not just beaches. But yes, the beaches are awesome, and they'll totally agree with you on that one. But thinking it's just Tulum or it's just Cancun, that's going to kind of turn them off. And kind of follow along with these first two things, I think another thing to mention that will kind of upset the locals, but they might not mention it to you, is if after you come to Mexico City or after you visit Mexico, you're like, oh wow, I didn't expect Mexico City to be so cosmopolitan and sophisticated. I didn't expect Guadalajara to have such good shopping. I didn't expect the beaches to be so nice and things taken care of. Like, people, when they talk about Mexico like it's some back world 1600s, like you think you're gonna see the conquistadors come around the corner kind of stuff. Look, Mexico's got everything you could find anywhere. If you miss your Starbucks, don't worry, they have Starbucks here too. And when I know it sounds really condescending saying that, but that's one of the things that locals get kind of upset about, is when people think that tourists think that Mexico is just kind of this third world, they don't have anything, nothing kind of world. And then they're so surprised and like, oh wait, Mexico City is super awesome. Guadalajara is super fun to go to. And you can really see that. And that's one thing that locals kind of get turned off when tourists do that. They don't mention it to you, but I'll tell you, behind their back, they're like, yes, we do have running water and toilets, and we do have, food you could eat. Like, our street tacos are better than your tacos kind of stuff. And kind of going along with the food, I think it's really important to mention this one. And this is, I don't know if it's really annoyed or pissed off or anything like that. It's just one of those eye roll things the locals have, is when tourists really go into how much they love Mexican food and they love their nachos and their burritos and all kinds of stuff. And I got to tell you, nachos, not a thing. That's a Tex-Mex thing. If you want something that's in your, I want chips and something, go for chilaquiles in the morning. It's basically, it's tortilla chips, and they have it in the salsa, and it drowns it in there. Put an egg on there, some meat on there. It's fantastic. You want to have that. But yeah, nachos, not a thing. Burritos, that's more in the north, okay? You have fantastic food here, and it's not the Tex-Mex from back home. So don't be comparing your Taco Bell favorites of, oh yes, I love my Mexican pizza at Taco Bell. Do you have that here at your taco stand? No, they don't. And so that's one of those things you need to realize. Tex-Mex is what we mostly have in the U.S. Mexican food, very different. So you want to have that. So go and explore the restaurants when you're here, because the locals will be like, look, dude, you need to have some different stuff than what you know back home. For example, here in Mexico City, this is where your tacos al pastor came from. So you get the real deal when you're here. You see the spits going around. But the suadero tacos, that's my go-to when it comes to street tacos here in Mexico City. Oh, it puts everything to shame in any Tex-Mex restaurant you've ever been to. Oh, so good. And talking about the street tacos and the street food that's here, I think another thing that annoys the locals is when tourists really get upset, oh, I'm not going to eat street food. Oh no, I need to eat at a restaurant. How can people eat in the street food? You're going to get sick. Montezuma's revenge is going to get you. Look, when you go around the towns in Mexico, you'll notice that there's lines for those taco stands on the street. Maybe you want to get a torta, like a sandwich, like, here, a torta with chilaquiles inside. It's awesome. Or chile milanese inside. You're going to get a sandwich. People buy stuff off the street all the time. They do have health departments here as well, okay? So there is that. I mean, be smart when you're going around. If you see a line of people there, it's probably going to be good to eat. And yes, we know that your tummy troubles might get you when you're here, because that does happen, right? But the street food is not the thing you need to be like staying away from, because that is one of the things they're the most proud of. Those street stands, whatever you're going to be getting. I mean, my tacos are my go-to, or your tortas. That's my go-to thing. But honestly, don't be dissing the street food, because you want to have that. Like I said, even if it's just those elotes that you get when you're coming back from Chichen Itza. You know, when they do the tour and they stop in the town and you see the church there and you get your elotes. Do that. You're going to love it. So don't be dissing the street food. And I think that's another thing, is when people complain about the water when they come to Mexico, like, oh my God, you can't drink the water. Yeah, there's lots of countries you can't drink the water. And also the locals, they don't drink the tap water either. They drink bottled water too. So you kind of being like, oh, my stomach and thing can't handle the bad water there. Yeah, neither can theirs. They don't drink it either. So don't get on a high horse about that. And another infrastructure thing that tourists really complain about that gets to be annoying to the locals is the putting the toilet paper in, not the toilet, but actually the cesto, the basket next to the toilet, like especially if you're going out to sites and stuff. Like your hotel will probably be okay, but tourists will complain like, oh, I had to like throw it in the bin. Look, a lot of places around the world, you got to throw the toilet paper in the bin, not the toilet, because the pipes can't handle it, okay? So be aware of that. Don't complain about it, just know that's a fact of life. And also, take some tissues with you when you go, because you never know. There might not be toilet paper there, or you got to ask, so just be aware. Now, another thing that kind of gets to the locals here is when tourists get upset that people aren't speaking English. They're like, I'm here in Cancun, I'm here for tourism. You want my money, you should speak my language. Look, sorry that the Mexican education system didn't start teaching people English in kindergarten like in Europe, okay? Here, if you're in Cancun, there's obviously going to be a lot of people speaking English because of tourism. But you're in Mexico City, you need to know some Spanish when you're here. When you're going to some of the Pueblos Mágicos, you need to speak some Spanish. And if you just come in and speak in English right away, like you should be speaking English because I'm a tourist, that always goes over wrong. Not just here in Mexico, anywhere in the world. So I think one thing that's really important, and one thing that's actually going to ingratiate yourself, even you don't have to be fluent in Spanish, but even just say buenos dias when you walk into a store, buenas noches, a good evening or good day when you walk into a store, that's going to put you on like a more friendly footing in the store you're going to go to, the restaurant, instead of just barging, do you have an English menu? Look, they'll realize you're not from around here, and they'll make sure you get one, okay? And they'll help you out. And that's one of the things is people here in Mexico get upset when tourists think that everyone's trying to scam them, and it's not the fact. It's not the truth. People in Mexico are super friendly and super helpful. They're going to help you, even if they don't have, an English menu for you. They'll be able to explain to you, cerdo, carnitas, oink, 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 carnitas, like it's a pig. Oh, pollo, chicken, cluck, cluck, cluck. Like they're geekly, like they're going to help you out. And the thing is, I've had these things happen to people because my Spanish isn't fantastic. I'm like, what is this? They're like, oh, chorizo, salchicha, hot dog. Oh, hey, yeah, cool. And so they're going to be super friendly and helpful. And if you kind of like think they're all trying to scam you, that is one thing they really take personally, because no, they're not, okay? And going along with that, another thing that I think locals get upset with is when tourists really complain about, the slow service that's here, Mexican time. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. Mexican time is a thing. If they say 8, it's 8:30. If they say 9, it's 9:30. It's just more of a delayed reaction in terms of when they're going to be there, and you need to kind of plan accordingly with that. And thing is that's part of the culture here. We're not in Germany. We're not in the Netherlands. We're not in the U.S. where everything's on time. If you are 1 minute early, you're still late in Germany. Kind of stuff. That's not how it is. It's part of the culture, and so it's kind of culturally insensitive and insulting to be like, oh, well, I can't believe it's taking them so long to do these things. Now, just things there's a little bit more slower paced here. And let's be honest, you're going to have lots of great food. You want to sit back and relax and enjoy it. You want to go to the beach. You're getting your drink. You do have to have patience. I will give you that for tourists to get upset. But the locals are like, look, this is part of our culture. Like, embrace it. Embrace that relaxation when you are here. Don't get upset about it. Oh, yeah. And also, the waiters want me to let you know, we do tip here in Mexico, okay? Like, not European, like 1%, 5%. It's like 10 to 15%. If they really rock, it's 20%. And that's one thing is they don't really like when you don't tip, because they do that here. And another thing I think is important to mention, if you're going to a taco stand, if you're going to like some like market or something, one, when tourists complain they don't take credit card or they wouldn't change my bill. Look, if you're going to a taco stand, they might not have change for a 500 peso note or a 1,000 peso note, okay? It's just a fact of life. It's kind of like if you go to your hot dog stand in New York, does a guy have a change for 100? I mean, you go to the U.S., there's places that we don't take 50s. it's kind of the equivalent when you're here. So don't get upset if they don't have the change for you, especially if you're taking taxis. They might not have the change. It's not them trying to rip you off. They literally don't have that change. So when you're going to be coming here, as a tourist, hey, make sure you get those smaller bills. But it is really kind of hard for the locals to like, look, dude, I don't have that kind of money to change for you. So have something closer. So that's where taxi drivers sometimes get upset. The taco stand guys are like, dude, I can't change. It's like they'll try to like find other people to help them change. But man, you're just going to come off as kind of a jerk if you kind of complain about that. Locals aren't going to like it. And then I think the biggest thing, and this is one I see a lot when I see European tourists come here, American tourists come here, Argentine tourists when they come here, is disrespecting Mexican culture and the Mexican country because you kind of feel like, oh, Mexico is below me. I'm from a superior society. I'm from a better country. I have more money. I am better than you. That kind of attitude that tourists have when they come. Now, I don't see as much from like Guadalajara, Mexico City, but it is a plague when you go to Cancun, when you see tourists coming in going, yes, I am rich. I have money. I'm better than the people here. That is never good anywhere. And that's one of the things that people really take offense to. That's why when you watch the news and kind of stuff, people get upset about the news that come out of Mexico that they show. They don't talk about the good stuff. They talk about the bad stuff, just like everywhere, because, bad stuff sells, right? I mean, probably while you're watching this video, what do Mexican people hate the tourists do? Oh, I want to see that. And that's one of those things. You got to realize the people here, the culture here is fantastic. Respect it, embrace it, enjoy it. Whether you're coming for the Day of the Dead festivals or you're going to go see some of the pyramids like Chichen Itza or whatever, or just enjoying the fantastic food here in Mexico City. And respect the culture, enjoy the culture. Because honestly, anywhere in the world, when you disrespect the country, you disrespect the culture, the national team, you're going to have problems when you're here. So if you're a Mexican or if you've been to Mexico, what have you seen that the locals don't like the tourists do? Because we can mention here in Mexico City, they don't really like that the neighborhood Roma that I'm in right now, a lot of it's been priced out of the affordability of the locals because so many expats have moved here. So let us know in the comments below so we can have other travelers not upset the locals when they come here because you'll want to come here. Mexico is fantastic, and I may be a bit biased because my dad worked here for my entire childhood, so I have a very, very near and dear to my heart. I love Mexico, I love Mexican people, I love the culture, I love it here, so I wish you all the best. I'll say hasta luego from here in Mexico City.